Okay. So finding that comfortable seat, whether you're sitting on a bolster or a blanket or nothing at all, that's all good. Maybe noticing which leg you have in front of the other. Settling here for a moment. Nice and cool outside, so I'm all draped up here. Rooting up through the crown of the head. Maybe we'll just start with our eyes closed. Begin to take some nice, easy breaths in our easy pose. Cultivating that Ujjayi breath. Just a little constriction in the back of your throat. We're just going to take a few more breaths here. See if you can even that breath out. Smooth it out as much as you can. If you closed your eyes, blink your eyes open. And then we're just going to take our hands and right up here at the sides of our rib cage. And so spread your fingers wide like they're your ribs and draw your elbows back here just a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of diaphragmatic breathing. And normally when we breathe and we don't think about it, we're chest breathers, and what goes up and down is the breath in our upper chest. And so what we want to do is we want to take that nice deep inhale and feel that rib cage expand almost like out to the side. So inhale, fill all the way up. Maybe just pause at the top of that breath and then exhale. Notice that those ribs just knit together. So inhale. And exhale. We're going to lengthen the breath on both ends. So we're going to take an inhale for 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause for 2, 1, 2, and then exhale for 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once again, inhale for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause for 2. And exhaling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right. Drop your hands down, maybe to the tops of your thighs or knees. And we're just going to do a couple little shoulder rolls. So inhale, lift the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale back. Inhale up. And exhale back. One more round. Inhale. And exhale. Perfect. A couple of neck rolls. Take a nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, drop your chin to your chest. We'll just do a little quarter roll. So we're going to roll the right ear towards the right shoulder. Make sure you don't draw the shoulder up to the ear. And then exhale, drop the chin to the chest. And then inhale to the other side, left ear to left shoulder. Quarter rolls. Exhale brings you back to the center. And then one more time each side. Perfect. And then on an inhale, head comes back up to neutral. Let's reach the arms out nice and long, out to the sides, and then draw your fingers back. So you're getting a bend into the wrist, and it's as if you were preventing the walls from closing in on you, which is kind of a nice thing. During COVID, we do feel that all that claustrophobia, so we're just kind of expanding our space. We're getting that stretch into the arms, across the chest, and through the wrists and the fingers. And then we're going to take the right arm across our body, but keep the shoulders facing forward, and then we're just going to hook that arm with our left side. So we get this little tricep stretch in. You can bring your hand to your arm, just stretch here. And then inhale, arms go wide, fingertips back, get that stretch through the wrists, across the chest. Switch sides, left arm goes across, hook it with the right. And it is natural to try to twist. So let's try to square the shoulders and bring the hand to the tricep. Great stretch in the morning. All right, perfect. Go ahead and drop your hands down. And just because we're creatures of habits and we tend to cross with one leg in front, same way every time, switch your legs. And then we're going to take a hold of that strap. And if you don't have a strap, you can just kind of pretend, but you want to have this isometric contraction. So you're like almost stretching or pulling that strap nice and wide. And your hands should be apart about over the knees or a little wider than the shoulders. Palms down, kind of feel like you're going to try to break or stretch that strap. And inhale, take the arms up overhead. Maybe just directly overhead, try to get a feel for where that vertical spot is with the strap right over the head. And then exhale, come on down. All right, inhale, reach up just to that vertical spot. And exhale down. And this time, inhale up just to vertical, and then exhale, drop back to where you feel a stretch across the chest. And inhale back up, and exhale down. We'll do this a couple more times if you need to go faster or slower or farther. We're going to inhale up, and then we're going to exhale right when it gets tight. And perhaps you can widen the hands and go a little farther, depending on what the mobility is of your shoulders. And then inhale, come on up, and exhale down. And one more time. Inhale, reach. Long inhale. Exhale when it gets tight. Inhale back up. And exhale down. Perfect. All right. Just take maybe the buckle or the D-ring into your right hand and reach it up overhead. So you want to make sure that that strap is hanging down your back. We're going to bend that elbow so that that right hand comes right behind your neck. And then make sure that you tuck your chin in, that you're sitting up nice and tall and not allowing the spine to round. Left arm reaches back for the strap. And maybe just hold onto that strap for a moment. And almost like you're climbing up the strap towards the fingers. And if you can go ahead and bind and reach the fingertips to each other, go ahead and try that. But keeping the back nice and tall. Maybe take a nice diaphragmatic breath here. Full inhale. Full exhale. Perfect. Take that right arm up and then switch to your left hand. Bend that left elbow. Right hand reaches behind. And just pause here holding the strap. So this is where I always notice differences between my two shoulders. We're getting that nice internal and external rotation of the shoulders. You can climb up that strap. Sometimes you can clasp on one side and not the other. Sometimes if you just give it an extra moment holding the strap, you can go ahead and bind the hands. Make sure you stay nice and tall. You don't want to compromise that tall spine for just clasping the hands together. Great stretch to do. So even if we have tight shoulders and we just get out of the shower, and you can grab a hand towel or a bath towel and do the same type of stretch. All right, go ahead and release and shake the arms out. Set the strap aside. And we're just going to do a couple of seated poses. So take your right leg out in front of you. I'm going to stay seated on top of my bolster because I know that this is going to be a little bit more forgiving for my hamstrings. Flex the ankle, but if you want to come deeper into the hamstrings, you can come off of the blanket or the bolster. Take the arms up overhead. Create some space here in the torso and then fold forward, hinging at the hips, and the hands come on either side of the leg. Make sure that you're reaching through the heel, you're reaching through the crown of the head. And just take a couple of breaths here. Waking up the hamstrings. If your leg tends to overextend, especially if you're sitting on a bolster, just put a little micro bend into the knee, almost like we do when we're standing. And we put a little micro bend into the knee so that we're not hyperextending and overstretching the hamstrings. Next inhale, and just kind of walk yourself up. Perfect. And in between sides, we're just going to draw the soles of the feet together. I love doing bound angle when I'm up on something high because it just gives these hips that much more room to open up. Inhale, reach up, make some room in the torso. And then on your exhale, start to hinge forward. So you're getting some core work here, lengthening the spine, and then whenever you're ready, the hands can come down in front of you. See if you can keep hinging at the hips, lengthening the spine, not rounding the spine. It's not how far we fold, it's more about how far we can hinge. And then inhale, just walk yourself back up. And we'll take that left heel out in front of us. So I love the name of this pose. This is knee to nose to knee pose. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead, and then exhale, hinge and fold forward. And because we're not always bringing that nose to our knee, the Indian Sanskrit name for this pose is Janu Shirshasana, which is a mouthful. Keep flexing that left ankle, reaching through the left heel, reaching through the crown of the head. Maybe giving that little micro bend to the knee. And then walk yourself back up. Perfect. All right, up to a little twist here. So we're going to take the right knee, hug it into the chest, and step it over this left knee. So this is a modified version of half Lord of the Fishes. We're going to take the left arm up and then twist to the right. So that left hand slides in front of the left knee. Gentle twist so that your fingertips are really light on this right hand. Another reason to be sitting up on top of a bolster, it kind of prevents you from leaning back into this right hand. We want to use the core to sit up nice and tall, draw the navel to the spine. Now, if you can take a bind here, now I'm not great at this, but you can take your right arm around your back. You can take this left arm in that space underneath the knee, and you can clasp the hands. So maybe on the replay, I will show everyone how I know Lisa can do this. And with those shoulders already stretched out, maybe it's a little bit more doable for some, not for me. All right, one more breath here. Inhale and exhale. All right, go ahead and shake it out. And we're going to switch legs. So right leg reaches forward, left knee comes into the chest, place it over that right knee. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, twist to your left. So the legs are hugging to the midline, and of course we're twisting to the left. And if you can take that left hand and wrap it around. You can see if you can take a little bind here. This is another thing that actually the strap can help us with. If you can't bind, you can thread that strap through. Not quite sure if yeah. Sitting up nice and tall, navel to the spine, breathing. Take a nice deep inhale. And then exhale, go ahead and release. And we're just gonna bounce those legs out. Shaking the asana. Awesome. Awesome. All right, great. Maybe even open and close feet. Feel that all the way up into the hips. Great. All right. We're going to come on to hands and knees, and we can move our bolster maybe towards the top of our mats. And just a couple of cat and cows here. So inhale, lift the heart and the chest. Drop the belly. Exhale, round. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, taking that nice full breath. Gaze can go up. Chin lifts. Exhale. Press away through the bases of all 10 fingers. Get that stretch between the shoulder blades. Draw the chin to the chest for cat pose. One more round here. Inhale. Back extension, cow pose. Exhale. Back flexion, cat pose. And then take the hips back to the heels. And we'll come into child's pose. Forehead dips to the mat. Lengthen the arms way out in front of you. And notice that this is a shoulder stretch. So as much as possible, you're walking the fingertips forward, opening the armpits to the mat, rooting the hips to the heels. And then we're going to walk those hands over to the right side of the mat, rooting the hips into the opposite direction, lengthening through that left side body. The left hand can be placed on top of the right. Breathe through the side ribs. Diaphragmatic breath. Walk your hands to the center. One breath here. And then walk your hands over to the left. Right hand can set on top of that left hand. And we'll come back to the center. And then just make your way up to hero's pose. So walk yourself up, drop your hips to your heels. Sit up nice and tall. Let the fingertips kind of just reach down towards the floor here. And shoulders are back and away from the ears. We'll just get that little stretch into the front of the quadriceps here for just a moment. Okay, so one way to stretch out the front of our hip flexors is going to be to walk our hands back behind us while we're in that hero's pose. And you can either bend your elbows to go deeper, perhaps you can come to your forearms. You can start to draw the energy of the thighs pressing in towards each other and extending through the knees. So reaching the knees forward as you're reaching the crown of the head back. So pretty intense stretch in the thighs and the quadriceps, and the hip flexors. Trying to almost lift the hips up here just a little bit. And come on back up. Awesome. And we're going to walk our hands forward just a little bit in front of the shoulders. Tuck the toes under. We'll come into that first downward facing dog. So we're going to ask Crosby if we're doing this right, but we want to keep a little bit of bend in our knees. Maybe walk the dog here. Lengthen the spine. Root the hips back and away. Get that same opening in the shoulders that we did when we were in child's pose. So really rooting the hips back and away. And then we're gonna walk our feet to about the middle of our mat and just hang here in our ragdoll. Maybe a little sway here, side to side. You can reach your hands to the opposite elbows. Notice that this is just kind of relieving neck tension, shoulder tension, trying to get the compression out of the shoulder joint, out of the neck. Slight bend to the knees, little sway. And then hands come to maybe the top of the shins, lengthen the spine. So feel the length of your spine from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Nice flat back. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale, fold. Root to rise. We're coming all the way up to standing. Let those palms meet overhead. And exhale, slide the hands to the heart space. So we've taken a good half hour here to warm up. We're about midway in the class. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of flow here. So step to the front of your mat if you're not already there. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, swan dive over. Let all that breath out. Inhale, come on up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise. We're going to come all the way back up. Full sun breath. Let those palms meet. Exhale, fold right back over. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, send the legs back to our first plank pose. So thankful that we have warmed up our shoulders. So pressing into the mat, spreading the fingers wide. Try to press up out of the mat and then draw the shoulders so that we're not rounded. Draw the shoulders down the back a little bit. Lengthen through the crown of the head. When you're ready, come up on your tippy toes and pitch forward just a little bit. We're going to lower chaturanga as slow as we possibly can. Let's come all the way down to the belly. And on our next inhale, let's just bring our forearms out in front of us for Sphinx pose. Again, lengthen through the crown of the head. So you're pressing the tops of the thighs and the feet into the mat, making this as active as possible. And then let's back the hands out to either side of the chest here. Tuck the toes under, muscle your way up to plank, slight bend to the knees, root the hips back to our down dog. Couple breaths here. Slight bend to the knees. Up to your hands, step your feet forward, and come on up halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale, root to rise, coming all the way up. And exhale, hands lower to the heart space. Maybe just a little breather here while I catch my breath and even that breath back out. So Samasthiti, even amount of pressure in both feet. Sometimes I find myself just kind of rolling out to the outside edges of my feet. So see if you can almost lift the arches. Feel that X underneath your feet. So from the big toes out to the outer heel, from the little toe base to the inside of the heels. Inhale, reach up. Big breath. And exhale, swan dive over. Inhale to your half lift. And then on your exhale, you're going to bend your knees, fully plant the hands, step each leg back to find that nice strong plank. So lowering the hips to be directly in line with the shoulders and the heels. Reaching through the crown of the head. Really strengthening the body here, knitting the core together. Okay, so since we're strong yogis this morning, we're going to just take that right heel up. See if you can lower down, chaturanga, keeping that heel lifted. And on your inhale, maybe just peel up a little bit to a cobra, keeping that heel lifted. And then tuck your left toes under, We're going to press up and back to three-legged dog. Keep raising that heel. Now draw your right knee in towards your nose and then reach it back up, three-legged dog. One more time, knee to nose. And take it up to the sky, three-legged dog. This time, step that right foot forward. Let's find warrior one. Couple breaths here. And then exhale, take the hands down to the mat. Pivot on that back left foot so that you're in a lunge here for a moment. Step back, plank pose. So now here for the other side, we're in on that nice strong plank. Just lift the left heel up. Doesn't have to be very far. Slowly lower chaturanga. Keep that left heel reaching up. Maybe just lift the heart here, peel up, cobra. And then exhale, tuck the left toes under, press back, three-legged dog. And draw the knee to the nose. Inhale back up, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged dog. And then step the left foot forward, warrior one on the other side. Energy out the fingertips. Find that nice vertical torso. That left knee is right over the ankle for warrior one. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Just a little pivot on that right foot for lunge. And then step back to plank. And then we're just going to move through a classic vinyasa. So lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra, your choice. And exhale, downward facing dog. 3 connecting breaths here in your down dog. If you can think about that diaphragmatic breathing, getting that full breath, not just into the chest, but all the way into the rib cage and the core. All right, look up to your hands, step or jump your feet forward, and come on up halfway. Exhale to fold. Inhale, root to rise. Let the palms meet overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart space. So I'm warming up for sure. I hope you guys are too. So pausing here for just a moment, evening that breath out. We're going to go through one more flow, just adding on. Inhale, reach up, full breath. Exhale, swan dive over. Inhale to your half lift. On your exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands, come back to plank. One-legged vinyasa. Take that right heel up, lower chaturanga. Inhale, peel up the heart, cobra. And exhale, draw that right leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. Keeping that heel raised that whole time. Inhale, knee to nose. Exhale, three-legged dog. Inhale, knee draws in. Exhale, three-legged dog. And step forward for warrior one. Lengthen the body, rooting up from your foundation all the way up through the fingertips. Take a nice deep inhale. Pivot open to your left, find warrior two. Since we did all that shoulder work, we'll go ahead and take an extended side angle here, right forearm to the thigh. Left arm comes alongside of the ear. And if you want to go ahead and take a bind, you can slip that right arm off the thigh Drop the left arm down. Maybe the hands can clasp. Keep the shoulders open, stacked. You can bring the gaze up towards the ceiling if possible. Release the hands if you found them. Come back up to warrior two and cartwheel the hands to the mat. Take that plank pose, nice strong plank, and then we're going to work on that other side. So the left heel reaches up, three-legged dog, or excuse me, just raising the heel in plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale to lift the heart, cobra. Now exhale, three-legged dog. Inhale, knee draws to the nose. Exhale, three-legged dog. Knee to nose. Lengthen the leg. Up to the sky, three-legged dog. Step the left foot forward. Warrior one. See if you can drop those shoulders into their sockets. Shoulder blades come down the back. Nice deep inhale. And exhale, turn and twist open for warrior two. Extended side angle. Left forearm to thigh, right arm alongside of the right ear. And then if you want, you can take a bind, dropping that right arm behind you. So it's common, like I'm doing here, is to fold forward. Sometimes just to clasp the hands, that's okay. But then try to open up the heart and chest, trying to stack the shoulders. If you have to release your bind to do that, go ahead and do that. See if you can stack the shoulders and take the gaze up. And release the hands. Come on up to warrior two. Gaze is over your left middle finger. Cartwheel the hands to the mat. Final vinyasa. Take your left leg back, plank. Slowly lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Go ahead and take 3 connecting breaths here. And we're going to dip those knees down to the mat. Maybe walk the knees wide. And take a nice wide leg child's pose. Take some time here to smooth that breath out. And then we're going to come up to hands and knees. Okay, we're going to go through just a little twist here before we wind up our practice. So look down at your fingers, make sure those fingers are nice and wide. And we're going to inhale, take that right arm up. And exhale, thread it through. Dip down to that right shoulder. And then inhale, let's come on back up, find your twist. And exhale through. One more time. Inhale, twist open. And exhale, thread through. So here, you can keep that left hand down for support. Excuse me. You can take that left leg back. You can reach the left arm up. You can bind behind your back. Whatever feels good to you. technically there's, all kinds of fun things you can do. You can take that left leg up. You can walk it forward towards that lower right hand. And then very slowly bring that left hand back down to the floor. We'll untwist back to hands and knees for the other side. Inhale, twist open, lifting that left arm. And exhale, thread through. Inhale, lift, and twist. Exhale, thread through. Last time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, thread through. Go ahead and stay right here in your twist. You can leave this right hand down on the mat to support yourself. You can take the right leg back, maybe just toes to the mat. Could take that right arm up, bind behind your back. And just an option, you can walk this right leg forward towards that lower left hand. Just a thought. Keep twisting open. Awesome. All right, right hand comes down. And we'll very carefully unwind. And let's just crawl to the tops of our mats. Find a nice, easy seat. So now without support, without props, ground through the sitting bones, sit up nice and tall. Take a couple of breaths here. After all, our asana practice is all about calming the mind and the body so that we can meditate. So we'll just pause here in meditation. Evening the breath out. And then let's take our feet in front of us, hug our knees to our chest. You can walk your heels in. I'm just going to take a little tiny boat pose here. If you want to stay just holding the knees into the chest, lengthening the neck. Maybe just shake your head from side to side here for a moment. Lower the shoulders. And then gaze up that wall, maybe about 2/3 the way up that wall. So we don't want to be rounded and crunched. And then you can start to take the legs up and extend the arms forward. Only lengthen the legs to the point where you can keep that spine nice and long and strong. If the spine starts to round, then create maybe just a little bend in the knees. Maybe staying here for a couple more breaths, strengthening the core. Try to squeeze those legs towards the midline. And then with control, bring the feet down to the mat and see if you can slowly lower all the way down. Last to come down to the mat would be your head. Maybe just a nice long stretch here. So take the legs out long and arms overhead. And stretch through the shoulders, lengthen the body. You can point and flex the toes. and the ankles. Maybe circle the ankles. You can interlace the fingers and press the palms away. And then before we come into Shavasana, we have about a minute, about a yoga minute, to do any pose that you feel a need to do. So it doesn't even have to have a name, but if you want to get that pigeon stretch in, maybe crossing the ankle over the knee and pulling that right thigh in towards your chest. You can take the heel up to the ceiling, walk the hands up the leg. And slowly release, switch sides. If pigeon isn't where you want to be, you can work on some twists, bridge pose. You could, if you have a block nearby, you could do a bridge on a block. Your choice. Awesome. All right. Go ahead and make your way into our final resting pose of Shavasana and take your legs out long. Turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Wiggle those shoulder blades underneath your back. And just make yourself comfortable here. We'll hold this space for a few more minutes and I will guide us out of Shavasana together. All right, very slowly bringing movement back to your body. Maybe taking a nice deep breath and taking a nice long stretch again. Perhaps hugging your knees into your chest and rolling on to either your left or your right side. And then taking your time sitting up. Think about taking a little bit of the yoga with you off the mat, coming up to Sukhasana pose. And bring our hands together at the heart space. So glad that you guys both showed up at this early morning hour to practice with me. The light in me honors that same light in each of you. Namaste.